Dr. M. Subbiah is an assistant professor in mathematics in LN Government College, Poneri. He has specialized on statistics interdisciplinary. Being interested in active research program and mathematical or statistical modeling, he has knowledge in operating various softwares on statistical tools and on technical computing. Having 16 years of teaching experience, he has published papers in 8 national and international journals and has also presented papers in 10 national and international conferences.
Welcome to UGC lecture series on mathematics. The topic for today's discussion will be frequency distribution from the given data and how to extend it to a cumulative distribution, then the representation using histograms and ogives. So, a tabular form as well as a graphical representation to summarize the given set of information will be the core discussion for the today's session. So, the quick outline would be these two topics. So, cumulative, which would be on two cases, one is as less than and another one will be more than. Then the related terminologies, how to arrive a frequency distribution. So, we need to understand different terminologies over there. Then as I mentioned, we will have the graphical form also, ogives and histogram. So, what is generally a frequency distribution is? Generally a distribution will have some numeral value or even sometime non-numerical value also. So, that which will be a table that will divide the set of data into a suitable number of classes or categories. So, it is quite open. So, there is no very much hard and fast rule to define clearly how many numbers of classes would form or would comprise the frequency distribution, because the entire idea is to summarize the given information in a more convenient, appropriate, reasonable form. So, the very first definition, which is what we have here for frequency distribution, gives certain freedom to set the number of classes or the categories of the given data. So, the important aspect would be it may give the guidelines. Okay. So, the number of items belonging to each class would have the property that information contained in the data will be sacrificed, because we may not know the actual information. On the other hand, it brings important features of the data, legibility. Mainly, we try to gain some legibility over the entire mass of information. For example, suppose we have 500 students in a institution and we collect the marks for them. Naturally, it will be 500 pieces of information, maybe varying from 0 to 100 or minimum to maximum for the test concern. Anyway, it would be 500 numbers. So, let us look into the first point, that when you try to put it into some classes or categories, some of the information contained in the data will be sacrificed, in the sense we may have to sacrifice what is the actual mark of a particular student, because you are going to group it. Per se, we may have an interest on 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 or so on, or less than a minimum pass percentage. For example, it would be 40, then less than 40, how many of them, then 42 or 41 to 50, 51 to 60, etc. It depends on the objective of the problem and what information we need to get in a summarized way. So, it is sometime it would be very difficult to formulate that you should have 5 classes or 6 categories in that sense. So, generality or a general rule will be little difficult. At the same time, it provides the freedom to select the number of classes. It depends on the objective of the problem. So, that is what we mean to say some information is sacrificed by losing the actual information. However, instead of looking at the 500 data, we may be interested in the way in which the students perform. So, how many of them would be in the category maybe less than 40 as set by the passing minimum. So, that you can get a quick information, that is what the legibility. So, when you look at the 500 numbers, this legibility may not be there. Instead, if you summarize the data in a proper sense, we can get the legibility over that. So, there is a scientific way to understand how many classes or categories are quite appropriate for the summary for the given data or given set of information. So, normally there are two types. One is the numerical distribution, like the previous example I mentioned, how many or what is the score of each student in a particular test or examination. So, it is a numerical output, the data are grouped according to the size, whereas in a categorical distribution the data are grouped according to the quality or the attribute, some characteristics, male, female, how many of them are male, how many of them are female. So, the same example from the student database of an institution, we could classify the data, same data over the gender of the student or their groups, science faculty or arts faculty or engineering, whatever may be. So, you may have some categorical variable, from that how many students are belonging to each of the category. So, the first point talks about the numerical sense 0 to 10 or 10 to 20, something like that. The second are based on some characteristics, it based on some quality or the nominal variables. So, what are the steps involved in that for forming a frequency distribution? First of all, we need to have a clarity on how many classes to use. I already mentioned in the first slide that these classes are quite free and there is a word suitable number. So, that suitability should be decided based on the problem. So, the objective should be clear, how many classes would be fine. Though in the problem we are going to see that we look into the minimum value and maximum value, and then we may have a rule which may not be so rigid or hard and fast. Choosing the limits for each class, limits in the sense minimum value and maximum value. Even in the previous example, I was roughly speaking or arbitrarily speaking that it may be less than 40. So, arbitrarily it means because we are dealing with the mark, the limit should be 0 to 40, because a student can very well score 0. So, less than 0 is not possible as far as this problem is concerned. Therefore, a suitable limit would be 0 to 40, because it qualifies or it has the failure students. So, 0 to 40 would be my limit, where the 0 is the lower limit and 40 is the upper limit. However, I am not going in the same width. Next, I am interested in 41 to 50 perhaps, then 51 to 60, then 61 to 70, then above 70. So, if you look at the cases, we are deciding to have 5 classes, then we decide the limits, then tally the observation. Very simple. What is the meaning of tallying the cases? It looks, you take the each of the information, in our example maybe 0 to 500, I will group them according to the classes in which it lies. For example, my first student score would be 39. So, naturally it falls in the class 0 to 40. Likewise, each of the information or each of the marks in the 50 students list has to be put it in a tally mark system. Let us see in a simple example immediately thereafter, but the word tally is nothing but for each of the given data, each object in the given data, which class it belongs to. So, we verify and then put a system for that, for an easier manual computations. So, that is more important. Then determine the class frequency. The meaning is quite readily available here, number of observations in each class. The word frequency here generally represents in a typical meaning that frequent, how frequent that particular data is repeated within the class. Therefore, the class frequency is a self defined term, in the sense how many number of observation that particular class contains. So, this is a decision, not a rule. This is also a choice, later on it is computation. The first two steps are thoroughly, or it should be done depends on the data framework we have. So, we have a guideline for that, rather to have a strict guidelines or rules, because it is a convenient way. Choosing the limits for each class, let us look into little more deeper there, depends on the number of observation. As I mentioned, these are all guidelines, not a typical rule to follow in every set of data. Then it may depend on the range of the data. Range is nothing but maximum value minus smaller value. So, you must have some idea. As I mentioned in my first example, the very well or a very simple idea about the range would be minimum a student would score 0. Invariably, most of the examinations are gauged from 0 to 100. So, I know that the marks could vary from 0 to 100, minimum to maximum. That is what we try to point out here, that it depends on the range. So, suppose the test is conducted to 0 to 25, then the class limits would be in a different scale. It may be 5, 0 to 5, 6 to 10, something like that. So, it all depends on the range. Therefore, these are all guidelines. Look at the number of observation first of all, too big or too small or somewhat medium. Then look at the range also, maximum value and minimum value. But however, we have some idea about the number of classes need not be very much less than 5. So, it is too small. At the same time, we need not have more than 15, because it is too large for the class sections, because if you create too long or too many classes, then each class would have or would represent a smaller frequency. Sometime it may not be, there may not be value in the class 0. So, there is no point in it. So, therefore, we may combine the adjacent groups, so that the number of classes are not too small or too big. These two words, too small or too big, might be very much open or vague. Therefore, the third point provides you little idea that it need not be more than less than 5, at the same time not more than 15. So, anything in this section would be sufficient. Okay. So, again I am telling that it is a guideline, these 3 points are how to choose all of them. So, before I work out literally with some numerical example, I would like to show you the way these cases are being done. Number 1, this is a raw data. So, maybe measuring of anything 5.33 and so on. So, we remember the cases or the guidelines, number of observations and the range and etcetera, third point also. So, I calculate immediately, this is the complete data set for the cases. There are 54 counts, 54 data points here, in which minimum would be 2.53 or roughly 2.5, maximum is 7 and the count is 54. So, recalling the 3 points here, I just mentioned these two cases are enumerated from the given data. Maximum minus minimum will give the range. Anyway, this data is important. Then this is the word we observed earlier, tally. So, tally is a convenient way of summarizing, especially when you try to do manually, because invariably these calculations are starting for a manual point of view to summarize an information, because manually it is very difficult to go through or get some required information or reasonable information from a 500 set of values. Therefore, we need to have a summary, let it be a form of a table or a picture or a what you call it as figure, we do not mind, but for making such a tabular form like a frequency distribution, earlier we used the word tally. So, this tally is again not to confuse or to avoid ambiguity, redundancy in our counting, because I took that 54 data. So, first value 5.33. So, 5.33 I just find out where it lies. So, it lies here. So, I put 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. The fifth value is normally earmarked like this. So, that one set will constitute 5 counts. So, easily I can have 5, 10, 15, then plus 1, 16. This is to avoid manual difficulty in counting. Suppose you imagine there are 16 such vertical lines, then a naked eye or quickly we may not be able to arrive this figure of 16. Instead, we can have a bunch of 5, 5, 5. So, 3 times then 1. Similarly, the 19 and other way. Importantly, the tally is for a convenient way of arriving these numbers. So, anyway you are going to count how many numbers within that 54 falls in each of the classes. So, class frequency that is where how it refers. The intermediate column is just for our convenience, avoid ambiguity, avoid mistakes, and we make a grouping like this. But importantly, let me have this column now. This is based on this 2.53, I am approximating it to 2.5, then I am going up to 7.49. So, that the maximum value is 7. I go slightly above the maximum value. So, that you could observe that I go slightly less than the minimum value, slightly go above the maximum value. So, that my my data points will be covered entirely within that. So, the three guidelines are illustrated with this particular example. Let us continue this particular forming a frequency distribution after a small break. Welcome back to the session. We saw the way in which the frequency distribution is constructed manually from the given data, finding that the minimum value is 2.5 and maximum value is 7. Therefore, we are covering with that. While observing the minimum and maximum, we observe that the range is not so big. Therefore, the class interval length would be selected as 2.5 to 3.5, then 3.5 to 4.5. So, you could surprise that I am reading it as 3.5 only to avoid that the values are not overlapping here. Therefore, there is a minor change here up to 2 decimal. In what way I am selecting it as a 2 decimal? Once again I go back to the data where I observe that data points are summarized or truncated up to 2 decimal. So, 6.20, it is simply 5.00, 5.33. Therefore, to avoid overlapping, I just truncate my upper limit in each of the classes. Instead of 3.50, I make it as 3.49. Therefore, the values which is equivalent and above 3.5 will be taken in the second interval and likewise the remaining. Anyway, the data point will never go beyond 7, but for the requirement or the uniformity, I maintain the length of the interval as 1, upper limit minus lower limit. So, that this value is more than 7, that is 7.49. So, rest of the cases we have seen already how many data point lie in each of the classes, how you defined it. So, I maintain 5 classes here, minimum number. So, class limits are as many decimal places as the original data, that is what I have mentioned here. The classes do not overlap, and then such a the first class can be maybe 2.495 to 3.495 so that you will have one more decimal for to accommodate the values more conveniently. So, they accommodate all the data, they are all of same size. These are all guidelines, they are all same size. For that, the last interval, though the original value may not be more than 7, it is deliberately taken as 7.49. So, an alternative approach for framing that would be, I may have in the earlier cases the left value is included, whereas the right value is not so. Similarly, you can reverse the idea, the left limit is not included, whereas the right limit is included, or I can have this way, both ends are not included. So, open A comma B, close to A, open B, open A, close to B. These are all different convention, somehow or invariably we may follow this particular method. So, lower limit will be always considered, we go up to the value B not equal to. If it is the case, we will go to the next one. So, now we define 2 more things, midpoint, the terminologies which I mentioned in the beginning of the session, midpoint called the class mark A plus B by 2. Then, if the classes of a distribution are all of equal length, then we can define class interval. So, this kind of computation would be helpful in subsequent calculations, subsequent summary with frequency distribution. Therefore, it may be necessary sometime to follow these guidelines, so that the 2 things, one is the midpoint of each classes A plus B by 2, and somehow we maintain an equal length between the classes, so that we can calculate upper limit minus lower limit. This B, A, both of these formulas are referring to the lower limit A and upper limit B. That is how the formulas are mentioned here. So, the alternative forms in the name of cumulative distribution. The word cumulative distribution is, cumulative means we are going to summing it up to that value. So, frequency distribution provides an information that how many values belonging to each of the classes. Sometime we may be interested in less than that. So, in the same example which I mentioned in the beginning of the session would be, we are interested in the students, how many of them are failed, because that is more important as far as a pass percentage or a result of an examination is concerned. So, we may be interested in less than 40 rather than 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and so on so forth. Therefore, sometime we may be interested in looking at less than 40. At the same time, we may be interested in the other side also, how many people have scored more than 95. That is also sometime interest in objective in the results of some examination. How many of them failed or how many of them come in an extraordinary performance, may be 95% and above. So, less than and sometime more than are important summaries as far as this particular problem is concerned. So, generally speaking, less than or less cumulative distribution shows total number of observations that are less than the given value or equivalent to. So, these can be taken as boundaries or class limits, but not the class mark. Midpoint should not be taken. You can take it as boundary or the upper limit of any class values. Similarly, we can define more than, so that it will give the observations, how many observations are more than or equal to that particular given value. So, quickly we recall this particular table, partially not partially, fully I have reproduced it here. Partial in the sense I have not put the tally mark. Hope you could understand that the frequency are counted now, therefore, tally mark is not so important. Anyway, let me take the upper limit here 3.49, less than 3.49 would be 2, because there are 2 entries which are in between 2.50 and 3.49, rather to say less than 3.49. Suppose I take less than 4.49, already there are 2 in this, then 3.5 to 4.49 would be 7. So, that put together 2 plus 7, 9 entries are less than 4.49. In a similar way, 16 are in between 4.5, but less than 5.49. Already there are 9 entries less than this. So, put together 9 plus 16 25, then 25 plus 19 44, then plus 10 54. This is the entire entry, if you remember. So, if you look at the table, the original table I have mentioned, the count will be 54. So, obviously, all the count will be less than the higher limit. That is what you could observe in the less than cumulative cases. So, 54 would be. In a similar way, you could have more than also. So, when I consider less than, I take the upper limit. When I consider more than, it is lower limit, quite obvious, because how many entries are more than 2.5? I think the answer is very much obvious, because all the entries should be more than 2.5, that is the least value 2.53, and we take even lesser than that. So, 2.5, therefore, all the 54 counts should be more than 2.50, that is what I have put here. Then I started subtracting it. There are 2 values which are belonging to this group. So, I remove them, 54 minus 2 would be 52, then I subtract 52 minus 7 45, then 16 I subtract from 45 will get 29, then 19 we get 10. So, these 2 values should be tallied naturally, because the values above 6.5, but less than 7.49 are 10. That is what your frequency says, that should be matching with this count also. So, roughly speaking, less than cumulative frequency will be added in from beginning subsequent frequencies from top to bottom, whereas more than cumulative frequency will be starting from the entire count and then subtract respective frequencies from the subsequent classes. Okay. So, if you understand clearly that this 54 is nothing but entire data points which are more than 2.50. So, start from the highest value, then remove each of the class frequencies, 54 minus 2, 52 minus 7, 45 minus 16 and so on. So, this is quick examples for the less than, more than and frequency distributions. So, each of them will have different objectives In fact, we have to say the other way around. If you fix the objective, then this kind of summaries would be helpful to frame or helpful to project or bring the data in a condensed form and quick to read also. So, in practice we usually apply less cumulative distributions. So, less than cumulative will be generally referred as simply cumulatives, and if you want to say strictly more, then we have to include that word. Otherwise, cumulative generally refer to less than cumulative. So, sometime in these alternative forms of frequency distribution, we may convert to a percentage distribution also. So, instead of looking at the actual data, you can give the share. So, sometime a budgeting problem, we may not be interested in the actual amount of spending in your budget. It may be, say, for an example, if you say 1 lakh is your budget, how much amount you are spending in each of the categories. So, purchasing book or computers or other items, travel and so on. Instead, I am interested in the percentage of your expenditure. So, that now it is 1 lakh, next time it may be 10 lakhs, next time it may be 50 lakhs, but we are interested not in the actual value, the share or the percentage of percentage of data. For example, I could say 20% of my budget will be spent on books, 10% will be spent on computers or accessories, like that. So, here it is not a question what is the actual amount, it is the interest that what is the share in each of the or what is the percentage of each of the classes. Therefore, the problem will be in a different dimension. That is why I am telling you, for all these areas, more important is what is your objective. Objective will decide in what way you are going to summarize the data. So, divide each class frequency by total frequency, that is what I mentioned you. Suppose you are spending 1 lakh and 50,000 you are going to spend for some head, for example, computers and consumables, then it is 50% you are going to spend for those particular head, that is what. Then multiply by 100, this indicates what percentage of that data falls into each class of the distribution. So, instead of looking at the actual data, we are going to give the weightage in terms of percentage. So, same can be done for cumulative also. Now, we will go for the respective graphs. The most common form would be will be of the histograms. Histogram is for continuous data like the previous one, measurement data, where you can draw it using the given width of the cases, given width of the interval or the classes, like constructed based on the adjacent rectangle, that means constructed based on the adjacent intervals. The heights of the graph will represent the class frequency, then bases will extend between the successive class boundaries. So, it will give how much data will be very much outlying, outlying means extreme values. So, that you will have a peak or it may be very much low. So, the frequency distribution will be clearly here graphed or in a figure form, so that you can easily identify which value will be very much high and low. So, our examples here are very much smaller classes. So, it may not be so difficult to understand where it is or difficult to observe where we have maximum, but this is not the case generally, we may have n number of classes. So, cumulative distribution, so this is for frequency distribution, whereas cumulative distributions are generally represented in the form of ogives. So, ogive is a curve which is used for representing the cumulative distribution, might be less than or more than. So, both are useful for representing graphically. So, less than or more than, similarly histograms. So, this is a histogram I just generated for given data. So, we have this 3, 10, 14, 25, 17, 9, 2 are just to refer their frequencies. These are all the boundaries 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 20 to 25 and 30. So, these are all the class limits, so that in each of the classes how many values are there. So, histogram will have the continuity, so that it lies on the class boundaries. Class boundaries need not be 5 to 10, it is actually 5 to 9, 9 to 13, 13 to 17, etc. So, it lies on the class boundaries. Then the graph which has a curve here called a normal curve which refers to the shape of the distribution. So, whether it is normal or some shift to right, more values are in the higher side, more values are in the lower side. This is the same information 3, 10, 14, 25 etc., but it is referred in a less than cumulative. Less than 8.9 there are 3, less than 12.9 there are 13, so on and so forth. So, this is a graphical display from popular software Excel, and similarly ogive for the more than cumulative distribution, there are 80 observations more than 8.9, there are 77 observations more than 12.9, and there are 2 observations more than 32.9, lesser lower limit we have. So, summarizing our session today, we have followed how to form a frequency distribution based on the given information or a data point, what are the classification for numerical data as well as for categorical data, that means you may have a nominal variable. So, how to form a frequency distribution. Then we have two type of cumulative distributions, one is more than and less than, both of them have a different objectives. I mentioned every time that this kind of summarizing the data in statistics is completely dependent on objective of the research or objective of the researcher, how to present the data in a more legible, easily readable format, that is the purpose. Now, these graphical forms for frequency distribution and cumulative distributions are histogram and ogives. So, a quick exercise on this particular area would be some 5 data 1, 4 and 5 data points are given. You can decide the class boundary, class limits, and similar things you can try for such a big data. So, this session is representing how to summarize a frequency distribution in a tabular and graphical form. Thank you.